Tom, I remember when In Search of Excellence came out, that book took the world by storm. It was almost as if the ideas that you put in that book, we knew it was a tough time, but a lot of us didn't follow, a lot of companies didn't. So let's fast forward to today, because a lot of what you talked about was followed for so long. The good companies did it, they continued doing it, but so many of them fell by the wayside. So if you could give 3 pieces of advice to those companies who want to succeed in turbulent times, what would that be?
An organization is nothing more and nothing less than people serving people. Our employees serving our customers and communities. And if you are a leader watching us, it is people serving people serving people. The leaders serving the employees, and you know, this guy Robert Greenleaf wrote the book called Servant Leadership, and not enough people have bought it, but that's absolutely right. So it's a people business. It's a technology world, blah, 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 but at the end of the day, it's people serving people. And moreover, in the midst of today's crazy times, the people who will outperform artificial intelligence will be people who do the human stuff, the little touch here and there. I give an example of a Southwest Airlines pilot running behind schedule, tearing full speed for the gate, gets to the gate, sees the usual line of a half a dozen wheelchairs, turns to the woman in the first wheelchair and says, "Nikki, would you mind if I took you down the jetway?" I've had 7,500 flights, roughly. I've never seen anything happen like that in my life. Now, why did it happen? It happened because of a crazy Texan by the name of Herb Kelleher. I don't think he was born but he was raised in Texas. But it happened because Colleen Barrett, the former president of Southwest, who I actually believe started as a secretary, said, "We hire for listening, caring, smiling, saying thank you, and being warm," and then there's a comma. And that is as true of the pilots and the mechanics as it is of the flight attendants and the people of the gate. So it is an institution that cares about people, and that people that takes just a little bit of extra time to be helpful. You know, I wrote at the beginning of my book about a guy who helps my wife with her garden, and we planted a lot of trees, and I've got to move a hose 150 yards, and I'm old, and the hose is heavy. And when he cuts the grass, he perfectly puts the hose together, you know, so that when I pull it off, and here's the cool thing. I wish I could remember the quote, but touches like that are the stuff you remember forever. And one of my great sayings is that I'm sure I stole from somebody: little is 10 times more important than big. It's that little touch of thoughtfulness that you remember literally to the grave.
That's
but you don't
sense.
do that unless you're hiring, listening, caring, smiling, saying thank you.
Okay, but this is common sense.
It is common sense.
It does not require a PhD in sociology or an MBA in management. So why doesn't the average business owner and CEO touch people more?
I was going to say because they have too many PhDs in sociology and business. Well, there's a little truth to that.
Yeah.
Because it is commonsensical stuff. You know, I had this wonderful thing happen. I felt like the biggest fool in the world. I was talking to a woman who was a regional manager, I think, or district manager at Starbucks, and I had just come back from Saudi Arabia. And I said, it's so bizarre to me. I said, the Starbucks people in Daman in Saudi Arabia, they smile the same way they do on Charles Street in Boston. And I said, what the hell's going on? She looked at me as if I were the world's biggest idiot, which I am, I suppose. And she said, well, we hire people who smile. And she said, then the ones who smile the most, we promote. You know, but it's
culture. It's
culture, and it's the human touch. And you know, I don't think our business schools and our engineering schools focus on that. In fact, there's a lot of research now, including at places like Google, that says liberal arts training is actually the best training. You know, you need the technical people, but at the end of the day, it's about people stuff, and it's still about people stuff. And in the face of the technology change, it is going to be those little take the woman down the jetway. That's why I fly Southwest. You know, that's why I fly Southwest.
Because of the heart.
Because of the heart. And yeah, I don't. You know, there's one of the big stories in my book is about a bank. It was in the U.S. called Commerce Bank. Now it's called Metro Bank. It's in the U.K. Banks are cutting branches, throwing people out on the street. These people have hired 17,000 people. They have a million secrets, but I'll tell you two very quickly. Number one, they love dogs. They advertise themselves as dog friendly. If you go into a Metro branch, I will promise you, you cannot come out without a bag of dog biscuits, a dog bowl, a pooper scooper, and even a few bags for what you use when you do the pooper scooper. But then the second part of it is with their employees. So you're a frontline employee at that bank, and you're not a senior person, and you don't have a high rank. And you and I are talking on the phone, and I've got this. My family's going on vacation. I've got one of those stupid airline deals where close the deal in the next 60 minutes or it goes away. And MasterCard's got a problem, and so my card doesn't clear. Now you're the young bank employee. What do?
Anything I can.
You put Tom Peters' ticket on your personal credit card. Obviously it gets reimbursed. That's not the point, but that's your instinct. I want to say one other thing. We are having this conversation in Dallas, right?
Right.
And Dallas, as much as you probably refuse to acknowledge it, is actually part of Texas.
They won't acknowledge that.
It is entirely possible that my favorite company on earth from San Antonio is the big insurer, USAA. And so why do I love them? Now, first of all, I've been around for 52 years with them from when I started in the military. But what I love is, and it's not that you sound fine to me. It's not that I'm in love with Texas accents, but they only have one call center. The call center is in San Antonio. It is comforting to talk to somebody who sounds like a neighbor.
Who's real, who's there.
And I was having this conversation with this woman on something that wasn't that complicated. And we got to talking about baseball. We got to talk about every other damn thing under the sun. And I said to her, I'm just so terrified. I said, if there's some supervisor standing behind you with a gun at your temple, I'll shut up. And she said, no. She said, you don't understand USAA. We are expected, not in some technical way, to spend time with a customer and make friends with a customer and develop the relationship with a customer. She said,
I wish we had more time.
I wish we had more time too. But, I'm sorry it was San Antonio, but at least it's Texas,
it happens.
Right?
People are people.
It's Texas.
Thank you. Thank you so much.